Hello? Hello? H-
Sir,
Hello? Okay, okay.
Sir,
Yes. Okay, okay. Good evening. Yesterday, I think we discussed about Hooke's law. Last topic is Hooke's law. It states that the stress is directly proportional to the strain up to proportionality limit. I explained up to Hooke's law. Next one, factor of safety. Yes, it is the very important term, factor of safety. Not only it is used for it is used in the strength of the material. It is used in remaining subjects which are related to the structures like a SCR, RCC. Okay, like that. What is meant by the factor of safety? So many students answer like this: factor of safety is yield stress divided by working stress, or some students says that ultimate stress divided by working stress, like this. But one thing you remember, why the factor of safety comes into the picture? First of all, this is the question mark. Why we should considering the factor of safety while designing the member, each and every member? What is the reason? Why should we consider the factor of safety? First, please understand what is the definition of the factor of safety. The factor of safety is the ratio of the strength to stress. Simple definition. Strength to stress. Strength, already explained about the strength here. Strength means it is the ability of the material to resist the external load. The strength is also called as a maximum permissible stress. Okay, here we can look at here inside the bracket here. Okay, it is mentioned maximum permissible stress here. Sometimes it is also called as a maximum allowable stress here. Maximum allowable stress here. Divided by working stress here. Working stress means the stress which is induced due to the external load. Okay, the strength is different, stress is different. Be careful. The strength is different and stress is different. Strength is only depends upon the material. Okay, particular mild steel having the some particular strength here, copper having the some particular strength here, and next one brass having the some particular strength here. But the stress is not like this here. Yesterday also I said that the stress is independent on material. The stress is only depends upon the two parameters. One is the load, second one is the cross sectional dimensions only. Okay, suppose for example, let us consider the one mild steel. Okay, we are applying the some 50 kilonewtons load on the mild steel. The strength does not change. But if you are applying the 50 kilonewtons, it gives the one value of the stress. If you are applying the 100 kilonewtons, it gives the another value of the stress here. But the strength does not change, because the strength is nothing but, okay, it is the ability of the material to resist the external load. The strength is also called as a maximum permissible stress. That means the maximum how much it can permit, that is called as a strength here. So simply strength divided by stress is called as a factor of safety. While designing the member, okay, we have to considering that factor of safety. Suppose for example, factor of safety is equal to 1.5. Let us assume that the factor of safety is equal to 1.5. I think we know that always the factor of safety should be greater than 1. The factor of safety always should be greater than 1. Yes, okay, I mentioned in the box here, FOS should be greater than 1. Okay, it is not less than 1, it is always should be greater than 1. Okay, what is the meaning of the factor of safety greater than 1? That means always strength is greater than stress. If the strength is greater than stress, then only FOS is greater than 1 here. Yes, no doubt in that all. Okay, while designing the member, I said that one point. Okay, the stress is always less than the strength of the material, or strength is always greater than the stress here. Okay, but what is the meaning of 1.5? FOS is equal to, suppose in the textbooks it is mentioned FOS is equal to 1.5. What does it mean? Okay, what does
sir,
it mean is
it's
yes.
for the concrete, sir. Factor of safety for the concrete.
No. One, first of all, please listen. What is meant by the factor of safety? Then here, factor of safety for ductile material, factor of safety for brittle material. We can look at the next step here. First, listen. Yes. First of all, what is the meaning of FOS is equal to 1.5? What is the meaning of that one is, suppose for example, the stress induced in any member. Okay, any member, no problem. That member is made of okay, cast iron or concrete or mild steel, whatever it may be. Suppose, for example, let us consider the one member. If you are applying the some load on that, okay, then no doubt in that all, yeah, okay, that member having the some cross section, that member having the some cross section, okay, cross section here, that member having the some cross section, and also we are applying the load on that. Okay, now that load divided by cross sectional area, which gives the stress here. That means how much stress is induced is that is equal to, let us assume that 100. That means now we are going to select the one material for that. Okay, one material. That material should has, okay, 150 megapascal strength here. Okay, now we can select the one material for that particular member. That member is made of one material. Okay, the strength of that material should be 150 megapascals. Then the strength of that particular material is 150. Already you know that the stress is how much here, 100. That 150 divided by 100, which gives the 1.5. That is the meaning of that one. Actual stress is 100, but here we may get a one doubt here. Sir, actual stress is 100, but why should you consider the 150 like this? Just I am considering the, okay, 101 megapascal strength of the material, then it is safe or failure. One thing you have to remember, okay, theoretically it is safe, no doubt in that all. The stress is less than the strength here, 100 is less than the 101. That means the stress is less than the strength, then no doubt in that all theoretically safe. But practically there is some difficulties are there. What are the difficulties here? Suppose, for example, we are using the formula sigma is equal to P by A to calculate the stress here. Okay, that formula is based on the number of assumptions. Number of assumptions here. We know that the material should be homogeneous and isotropic material, and the member is a prismatic member, and the load is gradual applied load here. Really, the load may not be gradual applied load. The material is not a homogeneous. All materials are non-homogeneous, but we are based on these assumptions here. We are using the formula sigma is equal to P by A. That means that stress value, it is a theoretical value 100 megapascals here. If you are considering the homogeneous material, isotropic material, and like this here, that value may increase here. So because of these drawbacks, theoretically, not only the sigma is equal to P by A. Now we know that F is equal to M by Z, tau is equal to T by ZP. Now these all expressions is depend upon the number of assumptions here. So, okay, we can calculate the stress. It is not an exact value. No doubt in that all. It is a just approximate value. It is not exact value. Okay. So, the strength should be, don't consider in the just 101, 102, 103 like this here. At least we can consider in the more than 50% like this. Okay. If you are considering the more than 50%, then, okay, 150. Okay. Then 150 divided by 100, which gives the 1.5. That is the factor of safety. Suppose, for example, if you are considering the strength of the material is 200, 200 divided by 100, then the factor of safety is equal to 2. But one thing you remember, the factor of safety always should be greater than 1 here. But here we may get a one doubt here. Sir, some textbooks, some problems here, we are considering the factor of safety is equal to 1.3. And some problems here, we are considering the factor of safety is equal to 1.5. Also, sometimes we are considering the 4 also. But one student's asking the one doubt here, what is the factor of safety of the concrete? Please remember, okay, my dear students, okay, please remember the factor of safety is independent on material. It is not depends upon material like a strength here. Okay, that concrete used in the so many places. Okay, based on the application where we are using that material, based on that applications, we can decide the factor of safety. Like a strength here, like a Young's modulus here, like a bulk modulus here, the factor of safety is depends upon the material. No, it is independent on material. Suppose, for example, I am using the mild steel rods in the buildings. Suppose, for example, the same mild steel rods in the vehicles, the same mild steel material used in the some another applications here. The factor of safety of the mild steel in the building value different, and the same mild steel material used in the vehicles, that may be different, and it is used in the another applications, that may be different here. But in 3 applications, we are using the same material, but the factor of safety may be different here. Please remember, The factor of safety, it is depends upon the applications where we are using. That is the very important. Suppose, for example, one vehicle is there. Let us assume that four wheel car is there. Suppose, for example, we are using the one material in that particular place here. Okay, I am considering the factor of safety is equal to 2. That means actually that material is subjected to the 150 megapascal stress. Then I am considering the 300 megapascal strength of the material for that member here, 300 megapascals. Then 300 divided by 150, which gives the 2 here. Okay, suppose for example, the stress sometimes already I told that. Okay, the stress we can calculate it by using the formulas. It is not an exact value. Okay, because of some reasons here, the stress is exceed the strength here. Then what happens here? That member is failure. Suppose, for example, the member is failure. Then we can stop immediately. The vehicle we can stop immediately. Okay, then okay, we can check it here where it is failure. Suppose, for example, I am considering the factor of safety of a member which is used in the aeroplane. In the aeroplane also, we are considering the same factor of safety. Suppose because of, you know that on the aeroplane, there is a different forces are acting here. Wind force is acting here. How much wind force is acting on the aeroplane? We can't answer for that one. That is depends upon the climate. Sometimes the wind force may be minimum wind force is acting here. Sometimes wind force may be maximum here. We can't identify that one. Suppose, for example, maximum wind force is acting on that aeroplane here. Okay, due to that force here, the stress may be increased. The stress is okay greater than the strength of the material. Then what happens here? No doubt in that all the component is failure. The member is failure. Can you stop the aeroplane here suddenly? No, we can't stop the aeroplane suddenly. In such a case, we can consider in the more factor of safety. Okay, that's why while designing the components which are used in the aeroplane, the factor of safety should be 4. Sometimes the factor of safety should be 5 also. Okay, like that. Suppose, for example, okay, we are for example, we are going to make a pressure vessels. While doing the pressure, while making the pressure vessels also, we can increase the factor of safety. Suppose, for example, okay, the stress is exceeds the strength of the material, the pressure vessel it can burst. Due to that, bursting here, sometimes it causes to the death also. Not only the single person, sometimes it can total villages also may be collapsed here. Recently, one incident occurs in the Vizag also, and also I think very famous incidents which occurs in the Bhopal gas. Why it can occur here? Because of material. Okay, material cannot withstand that much of pressure here, then it can fail. So finally, I conclude. Simple definition: factor of safety means strength by stress. Okay, that strength, it is also called as a maximum permissible stress. Sometimes it is also called as a maximum allowable stress here. Could understand the students here what is meant by the FOS? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That means don't think like that. It is depends upon the material. It is depends upon the member which is used in a particular applications. Okay. So that in the numerator it gives the strength here, denominator it gives the stress here. Okay. Next one, we know that there is a 2 kinds of material is there. One is the ductile material and brittle material here. In the ductile material, we are considering the yield strength. In the numerator, yield strength, actually strictly speaking yield strength, but in the textbooks they are considering as a yield stress. That's why I'm considering as a yield stress here. It is strictly speaking, that is not a stress here, that is the strength divided by working stress here. For brittle material, okay, already I told that in the brittle material there is no yield zone here. So after proportionality limit, then directly ultimate point here, or it is also called as a breaking point here. So for brittle material, ultimate strength divided by working stress here. Okay, and FOS should be always greater than 1 here. Yes, FOS, factor of safety, should be always greater than 1. That means strength is always greater than the stress here. That is the factor of safety. Very useful sentence. Don't confuse here. In the numerator strength here, in the denominator stress here. The strength is always greater than the stress here. How much strength we are considering, that is depends upon the stress here. If the stress is 150 megapascal, then we are considering the 300, 400, 500, whatever it may be the strength of the material. That is depends upon that particular member which are used in a particular applications. But here one more interesting question. Suppose, for example, sir, I am considering the different formulas, but I have that some doubt to calculate the stress here. It is the same formula I am using or not, like this here. In such a case, I can increase the strength here. Yes, we can increase. Then the member is safe. But one thing you remember, if you increase the strength of the material, then the cost of that material is also increases, brother. Yes, that cost of that material is also increases. Suppose, for example, there is a one member which is made of mild steel. That cost is 1 kg is equal to, let us assume that 2000. But another member, that strength is more than the mild steel. That member cost, the cost of that member is not 2000. It may be more than that, because the strength is increases, the material cost is also increases. So one thing you will remember, every civil engineer or mechanical engineer can design a member. But when we are calling as a good design engineer, if you minimize the factor of safety, then we are calling as a good design engineer. If you minimize, how we can minimize the factor of safety? We can consider the strength of the material is minimum, but that value should be greater than the stress here. That value should be minimum. If the strength is minimum, then the cost of the member is also minimum. Actually, suppose, for example, I can design a one car. Simply the cost of that car is 1 crore. We can design a one car. The cost of that car is 10 lakhs. Which car we can purchase here? 10 lakhs car we can purchase. Because this car, both cars are satisfy the strength criteria, stiffness criteria, stability criteria, all criteria are it can satisfy. But the cost is also very important here. But I can design the one car with high cost. We can design the one car with minimum cost here. Which car we can purchase here? Your car can purchase the customers. So please remember, as a good design engineer, the main intention of the good design engineer is always we can minimize the factor of safety. When we can minimize the factor of safety, we should have the sound knowledge in the strength of the material, then we can minimize the factor of safety. Otherwise, we can increase the factor of safety, then the cost of the member is also increases. That is the meaning of factor of safety. Students could understand what is meant by the factor of safety. What is the importance of the factor of safety while designing the member? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That is the factor of safety. Next one. Elastic constants. Yes. In the strength of the material, these elastic constants are very, very, very important. I think we are very familiar with these elastic constants. One is the modulus of rigidity. Second one is the first one is the modulus of elasticity. Second one is the modulus of rigidity. Third one is the bulk modulus, and fourth one is the Poisson's ratio. These elastic constants are very, very, very important while designing the member based on the stiffness criteria. Stiffness, already I told that the first criteria is the strength criteria, the second criteria is the stiffness criteria. In the first class, I said that in the stiffness criteria we are going to calculate the deformation. Yes, deformation. A bar, to calculate the deformation for bar, delta is equal to PL divided by AE. To calculate the deformation in the beam, that is called as a deflection, Y is equal to WL cube divided by 3EI. To calculate the deformation in a shaft, that is called as the angle of twist, theta is equal to TL divided by GJ. Yes, we can observe here. PL by AE, WL cube divided by 3I, and TL divided by GJ. What we observed here, in the denominators, E is there, which is called as the Young's modulus. In the shaft, theta is equal to TL divided by GJ is there, where G is called as a modulus of rigidity. That's why to calculate the deformation, the elastic constants are very important. Okay, why we should calculate the deformation? Based on the deformation, we can design the member based on the stiffness criteria. Yes, what is meant by the stiffness here? The stiffness K is equal to P by delta. Stiffness K is equal to P by delta. That means how much load is required to get the unit deformation is called as stiffness. If the deformation is increases, the stiffness is decreases. If the deformation is decreases, the stiffness is increases. These are inversely proportional. Okay, these are inversely proportional. So please remember the main significance of elastic constants. These elastic constants are very useful by designing the member based on the stiffness criteria. Yes. Now, we are going to discuss about one by one here. First one, modulus of velocity. It is also called as the Young's modulus, which is denoted by the E. Yes. But most of the students answer what is meant by the Young's modulus. Simply, they answer stress by strain. Yes, simply they can answer like this here, stress by strain. But which stress? The stress means it may be normal stress, it may be axial stress, it may be bending stress here, it may be the shear stress here. Okay, there is a different kinds of the stress. Which one we are considering here? That is a very important. That's why don't say that like a simple definition stress by strain. That is absolutely wrong. Don't say that stress by strain. No. Which strain also? I told that the strains are classified into the different ways here. Normal strain is there, shear strain is there, and longitudinal strain is there, lateral strain is there, volumetric strain is there, circumferential strain is there, hoop strain is there. We are using the different kinds of the strains in the strength of the material. But which one we are considering? That is the very important here. So this is the very important. Most of the students doing a mistake here. Simply they are calling as a stress by strain here. One thing you have to remember. So okay, in the screen I clearly mentioned here, Young's modulus is equal to normal stress divided by Young's modulus is equal to normal stress divided by longitudinal strain. That is a very important. Please write down also, if you have any notebook, please write down normal stress divided by longitudinal strain. Normal stress. Normal stress means it may be the tensile stress or compressive stress. Normal stress means it may be the tensile stress or compressive stress. Okay, longitudinal strain. Sometimes it is also called as a linear strain also. Longitudinal or linear strain also. Okay, linear strain means the normal strain in the direction of the load is called as a linear or longitudinal strain. That is the definition of the Young's modulus. This one here. Yes, this Young's modulus is purely depends upon the material. Okay, we know that the mild steel having the 2 into 10 to the power of 5 megapascals. 2 into 10 to the power of megapascals. The units of the elastic constants such as the modulus of velocity, modulus of rigidity, and bulk modulus, these three elastic constants having the same units, which is like a stress. Same, because in the numerator stress is there, in the denominator strain is there, but strain has no units here, then it is represented like a stress here. So that's why 2 into 10 to the power of 5 megapascals. Aluminum, it has the one value. Okay, 80 gigapascals here. Like that, okay, different materials having the different values of the Young's modulus here. It is purely depends upon the material. It is independent on the shape of the member. It is independent on the size of the member, like a strength here. Strength, all elastic constants, Poisson's ratio, these are purely depends upon the material here. So E is equal to sigma divided by epsilon. Next one, modulus of rigidity or shear modulus. It is denoted by the some textbook C, some textbook G, some textbooks N also, capital letters, all are. But in the gate point of view or any ESC, engineering service entrance point of view, majority of the questions follow the G here. That's why I'm considering the G here. Modulus of rigidity or shear modulus, G is equal to shear stress divided by shear strain. Here clearly mentioned shear stress by shear strain here. We know that what is meant by the shear stress here and what is meant by the shear strain already explained here. So G is tau divided by gamma. Tau divided by gamma here. G is equal to tau divided by gamma. This G is very useful while designing the shafts based on the stiffness criteria here. Next one is the bulk modulus. Here also, most of the students answer like this here, volumetric stress divided by volumetric strain. But one thing you remember, okay, volumetric stress is, okay, no doubt in that all, it is the wrong statement here. Volumetric stress is a wrong statement. Don't call as a volumetric stress here. Please, it is called as a direct stress divided by volumetric strain. Direct stress. But we may get a one doubt here. Sir, what is meant by the direct stress here? That is a very, I think already we discussed about volumetric strain, change in volume divided by marginal volume. What is meant by the direct stress here? Yes, we can look at this figure. Okay, now this member is subjected to what? Direct stress. Yes, this member is subjected to the direct stress. Okay. Now I am going to give the definition of the direct stress. The member is subjected to 3 mutually like normal stresses with equal magnitude, then that member is subjected to the direct stresses. Here, and we can look at this figure here. The member is subjected to 3 mutually, means one is acting in x direction, another one is acting in y direction, another one is acting in z direction. 3 mutually perpendicular. Like stresses means in the x direction the nature of the stress is compressive, in the y direction the nature of the stresses should be compressive, in the z direction also the nature of the stress should be compressive. Yes, it should be compressive. That is the meaning of like. With equal magnitude, that means in the x direction the stress value is sigma, y direction also stress value is sigma, z direction also the stress value should be sigma. Suppose in the x direction there is a 10 megapascals, y direction also 10 megapascals, z direction should be 10 megapascals. Then that member is subjected to direct stress here. Okay. Yes. Once again I repeat here. The member is subjected to 3 mutually perpendicular like stresses with equal magnitude. Then that stress is called as a direct stress here. I will tell you one example. Suppose, for example, let us considering the one liquid and assume that water. That water is subjected to the some pressure. Yes, some pressure. Okay, that water is subject to the some pressure in x direction, y direction, z direction. That pressure is same in all directions. That magnitude of the pressure is same in all directions, and the nature of the pressure is also compressive nature. That's why that water is subjected to the direct stress. That water. Okay, that's why in the fluid mechanics also bulk modulus is there. Okay, yeah, in the bulk modulus is defined in the fluid mechanics like this is here, hydrostatic pressure. Yes, hydrostatic pressure. Hydrostatic pressure means same definition, but instead of stress there is a pressure. Okay, same compressive nature, and it is equal same in all directions here according to the Pascal's law. Pascal's law says that the pressure is distributed equally in all directions here. Okay, that's why this bulk modulus term used in the fluid mechanics also. In the fluid mechanics also same definition, but in the numerator there is the hydrostatic stress. Both are same. Hydrostatic stress is a one kind of direct stress, no problem. Change in pressure, okay, or increase in pressure or decrease in pressure, we can use any sentence, any term in the numerator which satisfy the direct stress, we can use it, no problem. That is the meaning of that one. That is the bulk modulus here. But volumetric stress is totally different. Why? In the volumetric stress, okay, no need all in compressive nature, all are in tensile nature. No need all directions having the same magnitude. Suppose in the x direction there is a 10 and y direction 20, in the z direction 30, no problem, we are calling as a direct volumetric stress. That's why all volumetric stresses are not a direct stresses, but all direct stresses are called as a volumetric stresses. Okay, that is the meaning of bulk modulus here. Could understand the students? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Understand what is meant by the bulk modulus?
Direct stress.
Okay.
Direct stress by direct stress.
What is meant by the direct stress here?
The number is subjected to three mutually perpendicular like stresses with equal magnitude.
Very good. Thank you. That is the direct stress here. Some textbooks written like a volumetric stress. That is wrong. All volumetric stresses are not a direct stresses. Okay. That is meant by the bulk modulus. These three are the elastic constants here. Okay. And next one, suppose for example, I am considering the incompressible material. Suppose for example, rubber is a incompressible material. For incompressible material, the value of K is how much? That is the question mark. The value of K means bulk modulus is how much here? Now we can look at this expression. Okay, volumetric strain. Volumetric strain means a change in volume by original volume. Now the change in volume is equal to the change in volume for incompressible material is 0. That means delta V is 0. 0 by anything is 0. That means volumetric strain for incompressible material is 0. But in the denominator, direct stress. So whatever it may be, some value is there in the numerator. But denominator volumetric strain is 0. Anything by 0 which goes infinity. So K value for incompressible material is equal to infinity. Infinity. Okay, water is an incompressible material. Clay is an incompressible material. Rubber is an incompressible material. Paraffin is an incompressible material. These all materials, the value of the K is dynamic viscosity. This is the nu. This is for kinematic viscosity or 1 by m also. But in the GATE or ESC point of view, we are using the mu here. Lateral strain divided by linear strain. Already you know that. What is meant by the lateral strain and linear strain? Okay, the lateral strain means, okay, normal strain perpendicular to the direction of the load is called as a lateral. Linear strain means normal strain in the direction of the load is called as a linear. Suppose for example, I am considering the one figure. Okay, in this diagram, the load is acting in x direction. So the strain developed in the x direction is linear. The strain developed in the y direction is lateral. The strain developed in the z direction is also lateral. So mu is equal to epsilon y divided by epsilon x here, or epsilon z divided by epsilon x here. Okay, epsilon z divided by epsilon x here. That is the definition of the Poisson's ratio. And also in the numerator there is a strain, and the denominator also there is a strain here. Then what is the units of the Poisson's ratio is no units. That means both numerator and denominator having the same units. So that's why no units for Poisson's ratio. And next we look at the next sentence. Poisson's ratio varies from -1 to 0.5. What does it mean? -1 is the least value. That is the least value of the Poisson's ratio for any material. We can take the any material, the least value of that is -1. And 0.5, that means the maximum value of the Poisson's ratio is 0.5, not more than 0.5, not less than -1. Okay, for any material, the Poisson's ratio value within this range only, -1 to 0.5. That means the Poisson's ratio, it may be 0, it may be 0.1, 0.15, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, not more than 0.5. Have you seen more than 0.5 value for Poisson's ratio? No. Suppose, for example, you are seeing the sir, I have seen 1.5. Poisson's ratio. We may confuse here that 1.5 is not a Poisson's ratio. That value may be factor of safety. Okay. And we can look at the next sentence. Mu is negative for genetic material. Mu negative. Negative means okay, that value within the range of -1 to 0. That is the meaning of negative. Okay, within the range of -1 to 0, that gives the negative values. Okay. That value, mu value is negative for genetic materials. What is meant by the genetic material? Please remember, genetic material means living things. Living things material is called as a genetic material. Suppose, for example, our body material is a genetic material. Okay, the skin is there. Okay, that is a one kind of genetic material. Animal body material is a genetic material. Trees body material is a genetic material, because these are all are living things. Genetics, that is a one branch, genetics. These are called as a genetic material. For genetic material, the Poisson's ratio is negative. That means -1 to 0. Next one, mu is equal to 0 for cork material. Cork. Okay, I think so many places we are using the cork material here. I think in the cricket we are using the cork ball here. In that cork ball also, majority of the material is a cork material. Cork material. Not only the cricket ball here, so many places we are using the cork ball here. I will explain later. Okay, Poisson's ratio is 0 for cork material here. Next one, Poisson's ratio is positive for engineering materials. That means what is the meaning of positive here? 0 to 0.5. That value is 0 to 0.5. Engineering material means concrete, mild steel, copper, brass. These are called as the engineering material. In the strength of the material, okay, we are going to design the engineering materials only. We are not designing the genetic materials here. We are not designing the cork materials, because in the engineering we are considering the engineering materials only, such as the mild steel and concrete, copper, brass, aluminium. That kind of materials we are using the that kind of material we are using to make a buildings, or to make any vehicles like a ships here, aeroplanes here, two-wheeler vehicles, four-wheeler vehicles here. We are not using the genetic and cork material. We are using this kind of material, so that you can look at the problems. The Poisson's ratio always varies from 0 to 0.5 only, because those problems are related to the engineering materials only. That's why 0 to 0.5. Sometimes 0.3, some places, some problems 0.4, some problems 0.25, 0.28, like this only. Okay. Yes. First of all, what is meant by the negative and what is meant by the positive? Then we can look at what is meant by the 0. Negative means, suppose generally we can observe the loading here. Suppose, for example, I am considering the one material. I am applying the tensile load. I am applying the tensile load here. The dimensions of the member is increases in the direction of the load if you are applying the tensile. If you are applying the tensile load, the dimensions of the member in the direction of the load is increases, perpendicular to the direction of the load is decreases. Okay, that is the general scenario. Suppose if you are applying the compressive load, suppose for example, if you are applying the compressive load like this here, if you are applying the compressive load here like this here, this side compressive load here, this side, then the dimensions of the member is decreases in the direction of the load. In the other directions, the dimensions may be increased here. This is the general scenario. If the dimensions are increases in the direction of the load when it is subjected to the tensile, decreases when it is subjected to the compressive, for that materials, the Poisson's ratio is positive. But some materials are not like that. If you are applying the compressive load in a particular direction, in that direction, dimensions are increases. Dimensions are increases. That is the reverse process. Actually, dimensions should be decreases here, but the dimensions are increases. Some materials are there. No doubt in that, for all genetic materials, like this only, when you are applying the compressive load in a particular direction, in the direction, dimensions are increases. Okay, let us see one example. I am considering the, our face. This is our face. It has two eyes here. Okay. Mouth here like this here, and this is the engineering material like a mild steel or copper like this here. Suppose for example, on our face, if you are applying the some compressive force, if you are applying the some compressive force on chin here, compressive force, then what we observed here, generally after applying the compressive force here, the shape is look like this. The shape is look like this. That means it is a convex shape here. Just we are applying the some force on here. Okay, the shape is like this here. Okay, but whereas in the engineering material, if you are applying the some force on the mild steel by using the some hammer like this here, okay, it will get the some concavity shape here. Actually, we are applying the some force by the hammer. What kind of force here? That is a compressive force. Due to the compressive force, the dimensions are decreases. The same force we are applying here, okay, the same compressive force, but the dimensions are increases. Okay, so what we observe here, actual scenario is like this, but this is in opposite nature. Okay, that's why for genetic material the Poisson's ratio is equal to -2. What is meant by the zero? Poisson's ratio, when it is zero, when it is zero, we can look at the definition. When the lateral strain is zero, okay, then the Poisson's ratio is zero, but there is a linear strain exist, but there is no lateral strain exist here. The lateral strain, there is no dimensional change laterally, but the dimensional change occurs in linearly. That means, suppose for example, let us consider in this one, I am applying the some force in x direction, the dimensions may increase, but y direction dimensions does not increase. In the z direction also dimension does not increase or decrease, does not change. Okay, then only the Poisson's ratio is equal to 0. Because numerator is 0, then the total expression should be 0. That means for cork material like this only. Cork material like this only. Okay, cork material like this only. Let us consider the one cork ball and rubber ball like this here. If you are using the both balls in the cricket here, okay, suppose for example, let us observe the rubber ball here. If we hit the ball like this here, the lateral dimensions may change, but whereas in the cork ball, the dimensions does not change. Yes, that is about Poisson's ratio. Yes, for incompressible material, the Poisson's ratio is equal to 0.5. For incompressible material like a rubber, clay, or paraffin, the mu value is equal to 0.5 here. 0.5, that is the maximum value of the Poisson's ratio that occurs for an incompressible material here. Students could understand what is meant by the Poisson's ratio? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello? Poisson's ratio.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, next one, in the gate point of view, relation between elastic constants are very important. Just now we discussed about definitions of the elastic constants. Now, okay, I am going to relate these four elastic constants. Actually, these formulas are obtained from the derivations here. I am not going to discuss about the derivations. Okay, we have to remember these formulas here. First one, Young's modulus E is equal to 2g into 1 plus mu. Young's modulus E is equal to 2g into 1 plus mu. The second one, E is equal to 3k into 1 minus 2 mu. Third one, E is equal to 9 kg divided by 3k plus g. 9 kg divided by 3k plus g. These are the three formulas are very important in the gate point of view. Just in the gate, okay, suppose for example, g and e values are given and find out the mu value. Or mu and k values are given, find out the e value. And e and k values are given and find out the g value like this. Okay, these are very important. Please remember, E is equal to 2g into 1 plus mu, and E is equal to 3k into 1 minus 2 mu, and E is equal to 9 kg divided by 3k plus. Yes, just we can look at the one previous gate question. What is the relationship between the linear elastic properties, Young's modulus and shear modulus and bulk modulus here? Young's modulus, shear modulus and bulk modulus here like this. Option A, option B, option C, and option D. 4 options are there. Then how to solve this one is, first we can look at here which relation we can use. We have the 3 relations, which one we can use here. We can look at here, Young's modulus is there, shear modulus and bulk modulus. These 3 elastic constants are related in a one equation. That expression is called as a third one. E is equal to 9 kg divided by 3k plus g. Then I am using this one. E is equal to 9 kg divided by 3k plus g. And this denominator we can take on left side here. Then E into 3k plus g is equal to 9 kg here, 9 kg. Then okay, just we can take the E on right side here. Then 9 by E is equal to 3k by g plus k by g here. then 9 by E is equal to 3 by G plus 1 by K. I think option is D. 9 by E is equal to 1 by K plus 3 by G here. This is the one of the previous gate question. Option is D for this question. Okay. This is about elastic constants here. Elastic constants. Next one. One minute. Okay, sorry for interruption. Next one. Yes, so this is also very important in the gate point of view. Volumetric strain. I think just we define the definition of the volumetric strain. It is a change in volume divided by original volume. Change in volume divided by original volume here. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about volumetric strain expressions for rectangular bar and cylindrical bar. Rectangular bar, and we can look at the case number 4. It is a cylindrical bar. The first 3 cases related to the rectangular member here, member or bar, and 4th case is related to the cylindrical member. Okay. First we can look at the case 1. Listen carefully. This is the very important. I think in the total simple stresses and strains, the students feel it is some difficult topic. In the total simple stresses and strains, what is the difficult topic? Majority of the students, sir, volumetric strain of a rectangular bar volumetric strain expressions is some difficult. Don't feel like this here. First, listen carefully. Okay. First of all, to understand the volumetric strain expressions, first we should have the knowledge in the definitions of the linear and lateral strains. Okay. Generally, students, linear strain is nothing but change in length by original length. Lateral strain is nothing but change in diameter divided by original diameter. That's why we can feel it is a very difficult here. Okay. First, we can understand linear and lateral. Then it is very easy. Sorry, it is very easy. Now, first one thing you remember, volumetric strain as a general expression for rectangular block.
Sir, voice cut
Cylindrical.
అవుతుంది sir.
Voice cut అవుతుందమ్మా. Hello? Hello? వినపడుతుందమ్మా?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Previously, I take a water. That's the reason.
లేదు సార్ వాయిస్ కట్ అవుతుంది.
కట్ అవుతుందమ్మా. Okay, 1 minute. Now? వాయిస్ ఏమైనా కట్ అయితే మీరు ఎమ్మటినే రిప్లై ఇవ్వండి అమ్మా. ఓకేనా? ఓకే. Volumetric strain expressions is different for different members, shape of the members. For rectangular member, it may be different. For cylindrical, it may be different. For sphere, it may be different here. Sphere, it may be different. This is the... Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For rectangular bar, volumetric strain epsilon V is equal to, just we can look at this. Volumetric strain epsilon V. This is the very important one. 1 minute. Yes. This expression epsilon x plus epsilon y by epsilon z, it is used for rectangular bar. When that rectangular bar is subjected to the uniaxial load, when that rectangular bar is subjected to the biaxial load, when that rectangular bar is subjected to the triaxial load also, no problem. Okay, no problem. But we can use the same expression for volumetric strain here, epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z here. Epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z here. Okay. Epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z here. Okay. Now, how to find out the epsilon x? How to find out the epsilon y? How to find out the epsilon z here? Okay. Before going to find out the epsilon x, epsilon y, epsilon z here, first we can identify epsilon x is a linear strain, epsilon y is a linear strain, or epsilon z is a linear strain. Okay, that is the very important thing here. Now we can look at this diagram. In this diagram, okay, in the case 1, the member is subjected to uniaxial stress only. Uniaxial stress. In the case 2, it is subjected to the biaxial stress. In the case 3, it is subjected to the triaxial stress. In the case 1, it is subjected to the uniaxial stress. We can observe here, this stress is acting in which direction here? Okay, this stress is acting in which direction here? This stress is acting in a x direction only, x direction. Okay, that means the load is acting in x direction. The strain in the x direction is linear. The strain in the y direction is lateral. The strain in the z direction is also lateral. First, we have to identify that. Okay, so okay, here I make a one arrow head also. Okay, here epsilon x is a linear, and epsilon y is a lateral, and epsilon z is also a lateral. Suppose, for example, I am not considering the loading in x direction. I am considering the load in a y direction. Well, let us assume that. In such a case, epsilon y is a linear, epsilon x and epsilon z is a lateral. Suppose I am considering the load in a z direction, then epsilon z is a linear, and epsilon x and epsilon y is a lateral. Okay. First, could you understand how to identify the linear and lateral?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Like that, we can identify which is the linear and which is the lateral. The strain in the direction of the load is called as a linear, perpendicular to the direction of the load is called as a lateral. Okay. Now, E, what is the definition of the E? Normal stress divided by linear strain. Don't call as a strain. Just we are calling as a strain. Okay, I can use the epsilon y also. Why? Okay, we can look at here. Why should we use the epsilon x for E only? Why should we use this one? Okay, this is the linear strain. In the definition also, I clearly mentioned this is the normal stress divided by linear strain. I clearly mentioned. Okay, that's why E is equal to sigma divided by epsilon x here. But what we are going to calculate epsilon x here. Then epsilon x will be sigma divided by E. Yes, I can find out the epsilon x from this. Next, I am going to find out the epsilon y here. Epsilon y. Now, we know that Poisson's ratio mu is equal to epsilon x divided by epsilon y, because lateral strain divided by linear strain. Lateral strain divided by linear strain. So, lateral is epsilon y, linear is epsilon x. Okay. Then, epsilon y is equal to mu into epsilon x here. Mu into epsilon x is equal to sigma by E from previous thing. From previous expression, epsilon x is equal to sigma by E. Like that, we can find out the epsilon y here. Next one, we can find out the epsilon z here. Same expression we can use here. Mu is equal to lateral strain divided by linear strain, epsilon z divided by epsilon x here. From this expression, epsilon z is equal to mu into epsilon x here. Then mu into same epsilon x is sigma divided by E here. Like that, we can find out the epsilon x, epsilon y, and epsilon z. Those values are substituted in the epsilon x plus epsilon y, epsilon z expression. Then we will get the epsilon v volumetric strain here. And one more thing you have to remember, sir, epsilon x is equal to sigma by E, but epsilon y, actually mu into sigma by E, why should we consider in the minus? And here also, why should we consider in the minus? That is also very important thing. Please remember, here two things are important. First thing is we have to identify linear or lateral, first one. The second one, sign. Okay, for a particular strain, we are using the plus or minus. That is a sign is also very important. Okay, I think I explained how to identify the linear or lateral. I explained already. Now I am going to explain when we are considering the plus, when we are considering the minus. That is the thing here. Very simple. Okay, we are applying the tensile load in the x direction. Due to this tensile load, the dimensions are increases in a particular direction. Okay, please considering the plus. Dimensions are decreases in a particular direction. Please consider the minus. Actually, this is the strain in the x direction. Please answer. The length is increases or decreases here? The length is increases. So I am considering the plus here. But y direction, we are applying the tensile load in the y direction. Okay, the dimensions are decreases. That's why I'm using the minus. In the z direction also, the dimensions are decreases. So I'm using the minus here. Only x direction, okay, plus here, remaining two directions are minus. Okay. Suppose, for example, okay, this sigma is not a tensile stress. It is a compressive stress. That means we are applying the compressive load. Due to that compressive load, the dimensions in the x direction is decreases. In the y direction and z direction is increases. In such a case, okay, this will be minus, remaining two are plus, like that. So you can use the minus or plus, that is depends upon the dimensional change. Dimensions are increases, we can use the plus here, decreases, you can use the minus here. Then we can substitute in this expression sigma by e, sigma by e, sigma by e is a common. Here 1 is there, minus mu, it becomes minus 2 mu, then sigma by e into 1 minus 2 mu. This is the expression for volumetric strain of a rectangular bar when it is subjected to the uniaxial stress. Yes. Yes. Next, case number 2. Case number 2. The shape is same, but okay, load may be different here. In previously, the load is acting in a particular single direction only, but the load is acting in a two directions. This is called as a biaxial stress. Biaxial. That means the load is acting in a x direction and the load is acting in a y direction also. Acting in x direction and y direction here, like this here. Then we are using the same formula, general formula for rectangular block. Okay, now that is okay, say epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z here. Okay, that is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z. But epsilon x is different when compared to the previous case. Epsilon y expression is different when compared to the previous case here. Okay. Now we can observe here. First, please understand what is meant by the epsilon x here. Strain in a x direction. Strain means the change in dimensions divided by original dimensions in a x direction. The change in dimensions divided by original dimensions in x direction. Yes, we can look at here. The dimensional change occurs in the x direction. Not only depends upon the sigma x, it is also depends upon the sigma y also. Why? Yes, due to the sigma x, the dimensions are increases in x direction, but in the same dimensionals are decreases due to the sigma y, because in the sigma y is a okay, tensile nature, then automatically okay, opposite nature dimensions may be decrease. That's why due to sigma x, dimensions are increases in x direction. Due to the sigma y, dimensions are decreases in x direction. Decreases in x direction. Okay, and okay, the x direction, there is a strain is there due to the sigma x, that is called as a linear. Due to the sigma y, that is called as a lateral. Then epsilon x is equal to sigma by e, and also plus here because it is increases due to the sigma x, and here I am using the minus here due to the sigma y, dimensions are decreases, and also due to this one there is a lateral strain. So lateral strain, how to get here? Mu into sigma by e here. Like that we can calculate epsilon x. And epsilon y. Epsilon y means strain in a y direction. That means dimensional change in a y direction divided by original dimensions here. In such a case, sigma y divided by e is a one kind of strain, that is the linear. Okay, mu into sigma x by e is there, that is called as a lateral. And okay, due to this sigma y, dimensions are increases. Due to this sigma x in a y direction, dimensions may be decreases. Please focus on dimensional change in a y direction only. That dimensional change in a y direction due to sigma x and sigma y. Due to sigma x, dimensional change in a y direction is decreases, but it is a lateral. Due to the sigma y, dimensions are increases, but it is a linear. But in the same fashion, epsilon z, is there any load is acting in a z direction? There is no load. But due to the sigma x, it may change. Due to the sigma y, the z dimensions also change here. But both dimensional change due to the sigma x and sigma y decreases here. That's why I'm using the minus and minus, and both are lateral here. And these values are substituted in the above expression here. It will get the sigma x plus sigma y into 1 minus 2 mu. This is the expression for this. Okay, last one, just 2 to 3 minutes. The same rectangular block, but it is subjected to the triaxial stress here. That means stress acting in x direction, y direction, and z direction. Here also I am using the same formula. Epsilon v is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z here. But here just we can look at here, strain in x direction, sigma x by e minus mu into sigma y by e minus, because these two are lateral, this is the linear, dimensions are increases, remaining two dimensions are decreases due to this one in x direction. Like this here, sigma y and sigma z here, and these are substituted in this expression. Epsilon v is equal to epsilon x plus epsilon y plus epsilon z by e into 1 minus 2. Could you understand these three cases? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
No, sir.
No doubts.
No, sir.
Just volumetric strain expression, we should remember two things. First one, how to identify the linear or lateral strain. Second one, when we are considering the minus or plus. Just simple, dimensions are increases, considering the plus, dimensions are decreases, considering the minus. We are applying the load in the a particular direction, then it is a linear, and perpendicular direction, then it is a lateral. And one more thing, very important thing, no need to remember the three cases, just we have to remember the last case formula. This is the very important formula. Last case. Yes, suppose for example, in the second case is biaxial. The same formula you are using for biaxial, but sigma z is 0. Then the expression becomes sigma x plus sigma y by e into 1 minus 2 mu. We can look at the same expression is there here. Same expression is there here. We can look at this. Same expression. Suppose for example, same formula we can use for uniaxial also. Okay, in such a case, sigma y is 0, sigma z is 0, then sigma x by e into 1 minus 2 mu here. Same formula is there in the case 1. But sigma x is, I am considering as a sigma, no problem. But here we may get one more doubt also. Sir, is it the standard formula for any case? Yes, any case. But sometimes I am considering the nature of the stress is tensile. But sometimes sigma x may be compressive. Sigma y may be tensile. Sigma z may be compressive. In such a case, can I use this formula? Yes, we can use this formula, no problem. But one thing you have to remember, it is a compressive. Suppose for example, sigma x is equal to 200 megapascals are given, but compressive. Please consider the minus 200 megapascals, then we can use in this formula. Compressive is there minus, and tensile is there plus. Don't change the formula. The same formula, but compressive is there. We can consider in the given data, please consider the minus 200, minus 300 for sigma z like this, then we can substitute. Okay, this is the volumetric strain expression. Okay, thank you. You have the any doubt, just 2 to 3 minutes you can ask. Hello.
Sir.
Any doubts? Yes, you can ask. No problem. ఎవరైనా ఒక్కరమ్మా సింగిల్. హలో no doubts. No doubts means we can't understand 100%. Hello students, we have any doubts?
No, sir.
Yes, tell me.
సార్ ఒక చిన్న
Yes. పర్లేదు చెప్పండి.
ప్రెజెంటేషన్ ఉంది సార్.
Yes, 1 minute. నేను ఒకటి చెప్పదలుచుకున్నాను మీకు. ఐఎమ్ ఏ తెలుగు ఫ్యాకల్టీ. ఐ కెన్ అండర్స్టాండ్ తెలుగు, ఐ కెన్ ఆన్సర్ ఇన్ తెలుగు ఆల్సో. చాలా మంది స్టూడెంట్స్ రూరల్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ ఉంటారు కాబట్టి మీకు డౌట్స్ ఉన్నా కానీ ఇంగ్లీష్లో అడగలేకపోతుంటారు, అలాంటి ప్రాబ్లం ఫేస్ చేస్తారు. మీరు ఏమి షైన్ ఫీల్ కాకుండా వీ కెన్ ఆస్క్ ద డౌట్స్ ఇన్ తెలుగు ఆల్సో, ఐ కెన్ ఆన్సర్ ఇన్ తెలుగు. ఓకే, యు ఆర్ నాట్ ఏ తమిళ్ స్టూడెంట్ ఆర్ హిందీ స్టూడెంట్స్. ఓకే, yes. Now you can ask.
పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో యూజ్ చేసుకొని మనం స్ట్రెస్ కనుక్కోవచ్చా సార్?
పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో యూజ్ చేసుకొని మనం స్ట్రెస్ కనుక్కోవచ్చా? మీ పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో యూజ్ చేసుకొని స్ట్రెస్ కనుక్కోవచ్చు అంటే కనుక్కోవచ్చు. అంటే ఎలా అంటే చెప్తున్నాను వినండి. ఇప్పుడు పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు లాటరల్ స్ట్రెయిన్ బై లీనియర్ కదమ్మా.
అవును సార్.
సపోజ్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మీకు లాటరల్ తెలుసు, పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో చేస్తే లీనియర్ వస్తుంది కదా.
సార్
లీనియర్ స్ట్రెయిన్ వచ్చినప్పుడు ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నార్మల్ స్ట్రెస్ బై లీనియర్ ఉంది కదా.
అవును.
హలో, లైక్ దట్ వీ కెన్ ఫైండ్ అవుట్, నో ప్రాబ్లం.
ఓకే సార్.
పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో వచ్చేసి స్ట్రెస్ అంతేనమ్మా. బట్ ఈ
Sir,
వాల్యూ ఇట్ ఈస్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్. చెప్పండి.
వాల్యూ ఇచ్చి ఇది ఏ మెటీరియల్ కనుక్కోమంటే అది పాసిబుల్ అవుతుందా?
ఏంటమ్మా
పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో వాల్యూ ఇచ్చి ఇది మెటీరియల్ అని చెప్పేసి
100% కరెక్టేనమ్మా. పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో ఇట్ ఈస్ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ మెటీరియల్ ఓన్లీ. ఇప్పుడు మీ దగ్గర ఒక పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో వాల్యూ ఉందనుకోండి, అది కంపల్సరీ పర్టికులర్ మెటీరియల్ కన్నట్టే. చెప్పింది అర్థమైందా మీకు?
అర్థమైంది
అమ్మా. ఎలాస్టిక్ కాన్స్టెంట్స్, యంగ్స్ మోడ్యులస్, షియర్ మోడ్యులస్, బల్క్ మోడ్యులస్, పాయిజన్స్ రేషియో, ఓకే, ఇవన్నీ కంపల్సరీ మెటీరియల్ మీదే డిపెండ్ అవుతాయి. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓన్లీ డిపెండ్స్ ఆన్ మెటీరియల్. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఇండిపెండెన్స్ ఆన్ అదర్ ఫ్యాక్టర్స్, స్ట్రెంగ్త్ ఆల్సో. నెక్స్ట్
అంతే సార్. ఏం లేదు.
అంతేనమ్మా. ఓకే,
Yes, sir.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ. ఓకేనమ్మా, థ్యాంక్ యూ. విల్ మీట్ ఆన్ టుమారో. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.